Big win for Milan as they beat Lazio 2-0 at San Siro to stay within 2 points of 5th place in Serie A. But Gab, how concerned should they be for Rafael Leao?
They wrapped this up early.
What a goal by Theo.
Yeah.
Theo!
It was a mistake. It was the Theo Hernandez coast to coast. We see him do that again where he just beats everybody and just rams the ball from 25 yards out. Which, by the way, I was just coach. Okay, you can score goals like that. I'm not sure I would encourage it. Rather than you've beaten 4 guys, you've taken them out of the game. Now play a 1-2, do something reasonable. But hey, he's feeling it.
But Lazio should have known. That's what more I see it the other way around. Lazio, he did it like you said before against Atalanta not that long ago. They should have not allowed him to do that.
Rafael Leao, we're going to have more information. It's a developing story. It's a muscular injury. They're obviously sweating on him because it's a derby. It's Inter. They're in good form. You need those players. We talked about Vinicius before. You need those players who can create out of nothing and create overloads and whatever. And obviously, Rafael Leao does that better than anybody in Milan.
Big win for Inter as well. 2-0 away to Roma. Gab, they're 4th. But it's Mourinho making headlines again as he's tired because he's much more than just a manager, you know.
Yeah, he was on a roll with this one. Look, the context is Roma have a ton of injuries. Yeah. He did something to prove the point. He took some of his injured players on the bench with him. I'm talking about players, not just players who are injured and can only play a little bit, like Dybala, but players who are injured and can't play at all, like El Shaarawy, Gini Wijnaldum. He names them to the bench, names a bunch of kids to the bench, sends all the kids on at the end to prove his point about how depleted his squad is, how he needs more players. And then he comes out and, there's already some tension between him and the ownership. Yeah. He'll be in the 3rd year of his contract. Obviously, they have a big Europa League coming up, and he already won a title last year. And then he gives it the usual Mourinho thing. He's just like, I'm tired because the work I do here is much more than just my work as a coach and a manager, blah, blah, blah. It's up to the club to speak. He's all down. He got in this demented war of words with Renzo Olivieri, Renzo Olivieri is a former manager. He's really old now. He's the president of the League Managers Association in Italy. So he's elected president, right? And in the mid-'80s, Olivieri was caught up in a match-fixing scandal. He received a 3-year ban. After 2 years, the ban was overturned, and they said this guy is completely innocent. He could not have known. He was unaware, blah, blah, blah. But Mourinho obviously didn't read that far into the Wikipedia page. Came out and just like, Olivieri had criticized Mourinho when Mourinho had said, this referee I had was the worst ever, and wore a mic. And he said, look, we should try helping referees, blah, blah, blah. So he had to go to Olivieri. So it's like, how does somebody who was match fixing get to be president of the League Managers Association? Because he's elected, simply put. So he's picking these stupid fights.
They're 7th in the league now.
They're 7th in the league, as you mentioned. I think they've been unlucky with injuries. On the positive front, you can't change the fact he won a trophy last year.
Yeah.
He's very close to winning a trophy again this year. They play Bayer Leverkusen, of course, and then play the winner of Juventus and Sevilla if they reach the final. But all this stuff is so unnecessary. Yeah. All the the headaches and so on. And it's obvious. He's trying to put pressure. The fans are totally with him on the ownership to do something. Yeah, Friedkin can cut more checks, but then the financial fair play people are going to come to him and say, hey, Mr. Friedkin, you got a problem. So I don't know. I mean, people find this entertaining. I don't. I wish he would just focus on what he does best, which is coaching the team, achieving results, and getting everybody together.
Samuel Ealing Jr. and Dusan Vlahovic give Juventus a 2-0 win. That was your question about Atalanta. It doesn't matter, which means they move into 2nd place.
Jules, were we too tough on Allegri?
I mean, I don't think that was a great game, to be fair. Atalanta had, maybe not the biggest of chances, but they had a lot of shots. They had most of the ball, 60%. But it's a good win, certainly. You don't have to play well sometimes to win, especially games like that matters. As we said, the top 6 in Italy all met each other between the 2 Roman clubs, the 2 Milan clubs, and then Juventus against Atalanta. So 6 of the top 7, of course, behind Napoli. Really good win. Whether it's not convincing or...
It's a good win. It doesn't mean that people haven't been harder on the league because they played rubbish football all year. And
Yeah.
it took them a long, long time to go and actually play the kids, and the kids have shown. And if there's one thing, I think Allegri's going to stay. I think he probably should go.
Yeah.
But the legacy is going to be, hey, guys, we've invested in these kids. Let's play them, because some of them are actually really good and can contribute.
Yeah. In the Atalanta game, Gabby, there was some ugly abuse directed to Dusan Vlahovic, who was later booked. What's going to happen?
Yeah, so this was late in the game. Vlahovic scores a goal to make it 2-0. Great
Lovely
goal.
goal,
And then they have these songs, these stupid songs, basically where any kind of player from the former Yugoslavia gets called a gypsy, regardless of their heritage and stuff. And Vlahovic, and I think the referee handled it in the right way, Vlahovic goes to the referee and says, hey, can you hear this? And he says, yes, I can. So he applies the protocol. He suspends the game over the loudspeaker. They tell them to stop, otherwise, there's going to be sanctions. Then the game starts again. Vlahovic at the end of the game, going around basically like waving his arms as if to G up the crowd. He got himself booked for that. Now they've already said, this is a bit like the Lukaku thing, that if the booking means that he's going to get suspended later on, then they're going to take the booking away. I don't think you should react to the crowd. I know it can be difficult to do. But especially in this case, this is serious abuse that shouldn't happen. But, I mean, these are also professional players, right? You can't have a precedent where you allow things to happen because bad things. So I think that policy about booking players who react has to remain. Now, there can be exceptions to it in extreme situations. To me, this was not an extreme situation. That said, really unacceptable, stupid words from Gasperini. I feel like saying that he should know better, but he doesn't know better because this is the kind of person he is. He may be a good football coach. He's not a very clever human being, I think, when he comes out and he says, well, no, they were just winding him up. That's not racism. We've got Pasalic and Jim City. Jim City, by the way, is Albanian, right?
Yeah.
The implication being what? That like these guys, because you have Slavic players, then you're allowed to call Vlahovic a gypsy, and then Vlahovic isn't really a gypsy, so is it really an insult? I mean, this is stupid. No, you cannot have insults based on somebody's ethnicity or sexual orientation or religion at football games.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, whether you're racist or not, I don't really care. That's a problem for society. I just want to have an environment at football matches where you don't have that kind of language. Gasperini let himself down. I'm curious to see what Atalanta do because, as you know, I've been hugely critical of Juve over many, many years. But they were right in giving the 2 lifetime bans straight away. They were right, by the way, and nobody reports on this because it's after the fact, 171 banning orders were issued by law enforcement on the back of Juve's cooperation for the racial abuse against Romelu Lukaku in that game. This is actually real action, real things. I would love for Atalanta to go and do something similar. Or for something similar to happen.
Victor Osimhen scores the only goal as Napoli return to the Maradona's champions of Italy and having a big party. But Gab, other clubs are already circling, and some suggest that Cristiano Giuntoli, and even Luciano Spalletti might not be back next season. What?
Yeah, 2 different stories. Yeah. So, Giuntoli's obviously is the guy who's done a tremendous job. Obviously,
sporting director.
He's the sporting director. They lost their 3 best players, cut the wage bill 30%. He's the guy who brought in Kim and Kvaratskhelia and stuff. And, it's a ton of praise. He's been strongly linked to Juventus right now, which is inevitable.
Yeah.
He's also been linked with some clubs in the Premier League. I don't know how it's going to work out. What makes me slightly uneasy with him, he's done a tremendous job, but he's only ever worked at a high level. I mean, he's worked at other clubs before, but in Naples, sometimes that can be a difficult transition. The Spalletti situation, so this is so Aurelio De Laurentiis, the Napoli president. He had an option for next season on his contract, right? Obviously, so in the league, he would expect to sign a new contract and have a discussion about how we're going to strengthen the team, whatever. Instead, he got one of those when you get like that mail, but it's like secure registered mail. You have to click on a link to open it. He gets one of those from the club, which says, "Oh, by the way, we've decided to exercise the option and bring you back next year." And he was kind of like, "Well, wait a minute. We're in the middle of a party and stuff. We've just won the title. We can't get on the phone and talk about this. You just kind of decide like we're exercising your option. You're going nowhere."
But he will stay, right? Surely.
I would imagine he will stay. Spalletti is an odd cat, I don't know how seriously he might feel a little bit disrespected by it. I think even the fact that he shared this bit of information with everybody else tells you about his state of mind right now. I don't think it's about money, it's about getting paid. It's about respect from Spalletti's perspective. If he feels disrespected, who knows?
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.